Hello guys. So this will be a video that covers my expectations for the last major paper that we're going to write in class. This one is going to be a research paper. It's going to involve research and proving your sources and things like that, just like the last one did. The difference between this one and the last one is the last one was argumentative. This one will be more informative. This one's designed to inform the class and yourself about your topic, and this one will be a lot shorter too. It's only going to be 500 to 750 words. MLA double-spaced typed. That's about 2 to 3 pages altogether, and not including works cited, of course. So the topic for this paper that you'll be researching, this will be a paper where you will look up an issue in your field of study. That could be something really cool that's going on in your field of study, something new and exciting and interesting. It could also be some problem. Most people end up writing about problems. If you're going to be a nurse, you could write about mandatory overtime and the stress that nurses face and understaffed problems and violent patients and things like that. There's a lot of bad things you could talk about, but you could also talk about new methods for treating people for certain things. You could talk about how to have a good bedside manner, or you could research better ways of doing procedures in a hospital. If you're an engineer, you could talk about a famous bridge collapse that was a big problem and how it happened. Or you could talk about how the Empire State Building works and all the parts that went into it. You could talk about how the SpaceX rockets work, or how the Tesla cars work, or something like that. So for your individual field of study, there will be different issues and concerns and things to talk about. So pick one of those. What I don't want you to talk about, that's something down here in red. I don't want you to just tell me what your field of study does. I don't want you to tell me, like, what a, let's say, what a physical therapist is, how much money a physical therapist makes, where physical therapists work, how much the physical therapy field is growing. Because you've already written that paper. If your high school did their job, they had you write a paper at some point about the field of study you were going into, where you listed all of those facts. And so I don't want you to rehash that same paper. I want you to tell me about some specific thing happening in your field of study. And the idea for that is that this way you will learn about what it's actually like working in your field. You're not just going to learn all of the dazzling good or bad points about it. You're actually going to learn, like, what it's like to be a nurse or a teacher or a doctor or whatever, from other people that are doing that, because they're the ones that will be writing all of your sources. So I'm going to read through this, and then as we get to important bits, I'll stop and go back. So, assignment. Write a 500 to 750 word research paper discussing an issue in the field you have come to college to study. You'll use 3+ sources, which we'll find mostly in the library, using the library resources. So yeah, we're going to use Academic Search Complete again. Most of you should be able to find these topics on Academic Search Complete, because most of these topics should be covered on there if you're writing about it. And we're going to try to have at least 3 sources on this one. Alright, pick something specific. You'll want to make your paper, this will make your paper easier to write. For example, if your field is nursing, don't write about the importance of nursing. Instead, write about the difficulties experienced by nurses working in hospice care, or a new treatment that reduces recovery time for a certain kind of injury. Yeah, so try to pick something specific enough that there's enough to write about. Don't be too vague. You can talk about a problem with your field or a cool new thing that happened. If your major is business, pick what kind of business you would ideally be in. I say this because a lot of people just sign up as business majors and haven't actually taken any of those classes yet. So I pick your ideal place you would want to work as a business person, and look at an issue that they're having. A lot of business papers are very vague, so this will help you narrow it down a lot. If you plan to change majors, or you don't know what you want to write about, pick whatever you'd plan to change to. Pick whatever ideally you would be doing if you got the degree you really wanted, if you had the job you really wanted in the future. And again, don't write about how to get the job you want, what it involves, what degrees to get, etc. Tell me about something specific happening. So here are some helpful tips. Find your evidence and outline before you start writing. We'll work on that together as we go through the process. But you always want to make sure that you find, like I said before, your evidence that you're going to use before you actually start writing. Otherwise, maybe you start writing and then you go back to try to find that evidence and it's not there because you were wrong the whole time. This will make your writing process easier. Your evidence basically tells you how to write the paper. In every body paragraph, follow the paragraph structure we use in class, same one that we used before. Topic sentence, elaboration, evidence, explanation. You might use more than one piece of evidence per paragraph, but you definitely need to have all of those four parts. Cite everything. Every fact you use from a source needs to be cited. If you are citing a lot of information from one source, mention who wrote it, where it came from, and what it was about before adding the evidence. So tell us more about the source before you use it a lot. If you're just citing a little fact, you can have the little in-text citation. But if you are using a giant quote from a source, make sure that you tell us where that came from and stuff. Okay, so down here is a sample paper. This one is a little longer probably than the ones that I would expect you to be writing. This one is it 6 pages? Yeah, this is 6 pages. It's written by a journalism major, and she's writing in a different class that I have where I assigned longer papers than in here. Yours should only be 2 to 3 pages, so about this long. So yours will probably have a intro, a conclusion, probably 3, maybe 4 body paragraphs. You'll need your heading, title, last name, and page number up in the top, and you'll also need a works cited page with at least 3 citations in it. And all of these citations need to be represented somewhere in your paper. I'll have an assignment later where you read through this, and then we'll go through it a little bit in class once we do that. But this is basically set up the same way as the argument paper. It's just, this even is an argument paper. But the idea is just to be a little more informative with this one. You can cover all the different angles of your issue. You can talk about whatever you need to talk about in here. You're not necessarily arguing a point. All right, guys. Well, we will we'll work on brainstorming probably right after we introduce this, and you'll get to pick your topics, and then we will look together at those. So see you in class.